Hello everybody, I'm Debra Sofia Magdalene, and today I am delighted to be interviewing my good friend Skarlet L Realta. Now I'll just introduce Skarlet so you know a little bit about her. She's known as a contrarian, an alchemist and an adventurer, and she's the founder of Scholomantry University, teaching quantum magic, and I'm very fortunate to be one of her students. She's also a global mentor and an internationally acclaimed author. And one of the books that she wrote 5 years ago is coming true. Everything that she wrote about back then is playing out in this reality right now. So Skarlet, welcome. And the first question I have for you is, why have you decided to re-release this book, Zalmoxis Pact, right now?
It's very interesting because, well, as you know, Deborah, because we've known each other for, my gosh.
Since 2008.
Wow, right, 12 years, I was about to say 10 years. So as you know, writing reality into being is not new for me, right? So I've been shocked again and again and again and again and again. It never stops shocking me, actually, how the books that I write become real, basically, again and again. So this is not the first one by any means that has. And as you also know, it's part of a foundation within the quantum magic that we teach at Scholomantry, which is very much a living system of magic, which is founded upon some pretty incredible stuff, but part of which is the fact that sound is creation, and every word we speak, we think, we write, becomes real. So get really clear about what you're thinking and saying and writing, because it'll happen.
Oh yeah.
And that's the really cool thing. And also fundamentally that, you know, everything is a story. Life is an incredible adventure. There's an incredible game. It's amazing fun when you can step out of the human emotion of it all and look at it as a great game and the fun that you're playing. And, you know, the more crazy it becomes, the more fun you get to have. So as you also know, and this is in direct answer, I'm coming back to your question in a moment, but just to give a little bit of background, as you also know, emotions are incredibly powerful things. So scientists have been absolutely blown away with setting out to try and prove something and disproving what they were setting out to prove, and blowing themselves away to understand that emotions shape DNA and shape reality. Even with tests with a guy who, you know, they separated his DNA from him to next door, he changed his emotions, the DNA changed, they put it 50 miles away, same thing happened. In another country, same thing happened. And scientists were left going, oh my gosh, emotions create reality. And of course, what's the one thing that shapes your emotion, that feeds your emotion? It's the story you tell yourself, and that will actually conjure the emotion that you are experiencing. So, you know, coming back to why did I release this book again right now? So it's intriguing. When I actually wrote this book, as you know, Deborah, these are the experience that I'd had for the just 2 and a bit years in order for me to write this book was, you know, incredibly powerful. So the book, first of all, is inspired upon my own real experience. So the characters are in it are very real, including every aspect in there that I talk about in terms of agendas and, secret sects and covert discoveries, including the fact that humans are superhuman, which is a huge discovery that was corroborated by uncoverings that happened in 2003 under the Magik Mountains in Transylvania. And this is all inside the book itself. The thing that's really interesting about the book is, though I experienced it back then, and I can honestly say, hand on my heart, this stuff in there is very, very real. and everything that is being uncovered and coming to the fore and coming to light right now, that so many people are coming across and experiencing, is very much in the heart of this story. The story has a story itself that plays out and actually leads to a wonderful outcome, a completely new golden era for humanity. But the key is that the story is inside a story, and without giving the story away, because for anyone who decides they'd love to go and read it, what I would like to say is when you get to the end, you're so shocked at what you realise just happened. It's not at all what you think. So while you're immersed inside the thriller, and it is a paranormal thriller that's going on inside this book, reading it now will blow you away. I've had readers from all over the world write to me saying, oh my God, like everything you wrote is literally what is happening right now. And I say to them, yes, but remember the beginning and remember the end of the book. So that is also here, because obviously in Scholomachia, we look at, it's all about quantum magic. So magic exists in a timeless space. So, what that really means is what was the past, what will be the future is all happening at once. So effectively an outcome is just as present right now as the events that you seem to be facing in kind of like a chronological order. They're all actually happening at once. So the reason that I wanted to release it now was, one, because I knew that it would be very intriguing for people to see that, yes, it was written 5 years ago. Yes, it looks like a prophecy that's prophesying events that are happening now, because they're playing out literally, word for word, as in the book. But equally, it's the end of the story that will blow people away when they absolutely understand why those events are playing out, and how it is that none of the events that we're experiencing in the world, which of course there's only your world right now, are outside of you. It's all happening within you. So ultimately, it's very intriguing, because when I wrote this book, as you know, I was put in a cast to write it. I broke my leg, and it's part of the unfolding of the end of the story, actually. And I was in a cast, and it was when I was in a cast that the man who's right at the key of this story with me, very real guy, very amazing guy, who said to me, you must write our way forward. So this is all part and parcel inside the story itself. And in writing that way forward, I literally, as I was writing my way forwards, I was in a cast. I couldn't move for, in the end, I think I was like 8 weeks in a cast, and then another few weeks before I could get up, because I couldn't walk on either leg at the time. And it's intriguing to me at the moment that the events of Zalmoxis Pact are playing out while the world has been put in a cast. So people are being absolutely still at home, can't really go anywhere apart from walking out, in a moment of having to look inside and understand what is going on. And as you well know, the real message inside Zalmoxis Pact is very much the end of the story of good versus evil.
Yeah, because at the moment we've got playing out two camps. We've got the perceived goodies, the perceived baddies. So what's the message that you want to give to people about this?
Well, it's really interesting, right? Because we get so conditioned since we're tiny to think this is good and this is bad. And we take that on as being real. Therefore, we tell our body, we program our entire anatomy to behave in a situation according to what we're telling it is right or wrong, left or right, good or bad. But as a writer, I can say as well, when you're writing a story, the most powerful relationship that exists, that an entire story hangs around, and if you do write a great story, this will be the best of all, is around the hero and the opponent, the baddie, you could say. And if you get it really right, and you'll all know this if you've actually watched movies that you think are incredible, read books that you think are incredible, it's very hard to determine in the end who is the hero and who is the opponent, because the moment that you're inside the eyes of yourself and you think, yeah, I'm the hero and that person over there is the baddie, what happens when you lift out of your perspective and you go and look through their eyes and you look back at you? They're the hero to themselves and you're the baddie. What makes one person right or wrong? And even though you know, not for a moment am I going to say I condone this behaviour or that behaviour. To me, that's not what's in question here. To be able to lift yourself, to break through restrictions of consciousness that keep you very much trapped in the programmed ideas of right, wrong, good, bad, that actually then, you know, affect your emotions and completely shape the world that shows up to you, the life that shows up to you. If you can actually take a step to raise yourself from that place and look at everything that is playing out as being simply experience. So no one is right or wrong. A really good example of that is, you know, if you look at hot and you look at cold, well, you wouldn't say hot is right or wrong or cold is right or wrong, but you couldn't know what hot was until you had cold to compare it to.
Yeah, I need the contrast.
Exactly. However, you know, people take the idea of freedom and slavery, for example, and it's got a whole story behind it. It's not a story behind hot or cold. And it's being able to take yourself to that place where you understand that, you know, the story of good versus bad, you know, is really what sets up all the wars everywhere. It sets up the wars within us, and anything that we're seeing outside of us is starting from within us. So something only has a power over you if it's having a power within you, inside of you. So if you've got this idea of good versus bad playing out around you and you feel like you want to take sides with a camp, it's because inside of you there's a part of you that you're at war with. And it may be that you haven't even understood that, but you know what, when we can truly fall in love with, on every single level, which is right at the heart of Zalmoxis Pact actually, you know, every part of ourselves without judging it and just allowing it to be a part of this wonderful being that we are, then all of our focus shifts from the drama that we get so subliminally programmed to be addicted to into the power of what we can create. And that becomes way more exciting.
I agree. And one of the things that I've learned through reading all your books is that you always have like nuggets in there that spark new realizations, and it like awakens the reader and sends them on different paths. Like I remember reading Zalmoxis Pact when you first released it 5 years ago, and like there were so many things in there that I thought, oh my God, I didn't even know that. And because I know you, I know that everything that you write about is based on truth. Otherwise, I would have thought that this is like, no way could this happen. But that sent me like researching like secret underground base in Transylvania, in Romania, and like what I found was like, oh my God, humanity has been lied to for so long.
Yeah, that particular base is amazing. You know my love of Transylvania, but they found under the mountains there in 2003. It was Romanian Secret Service Department Zero. So this is all inside the thriller of the book, which is very much it's a novel, it's a thriller, it's exciting, it's fast-paced. What they found under there was a series of tunnels and halls, these holographic hall of records. And in fact, it took the Romanian Secret Service, they called in all their paranormal squad. And there's a guy who was codenamed Cesar, actually, who'd been trained since a baby by a Tibetan Lama to come in and open up these tunnels, because they were trying to get other people in the Department Zero to open up the energy shields, and they were dying basically because they didn't know how to do it. So they brought this guy in, and what they found under the mountains was incredible. And they got eventually to this big holographic hall of records, called that because it was a giant cave under the mountains with an enormous round stone table with very strange sigils and markings on the table, covered in monatomic white gold powder. And when they got close to it, it basically, in very simple terms, released holographic projections where they were able to see where giants, because it was a giant table, it was built for giants. And by the way, they found all sorts of giant skeletons out in Romania, as well as dragon skeletons and all sorts. And that's another whole story of the Hultans of the mountains and how they were guarding everything. It's just amazing, actually. Real like ancient shaman priest stuff. Anyway, so yeah, what they found was crossbreeding species, that humans they found, all the compressed chromosomes of the humans, and the fact that humans are innately superhuman, completely superhuman, we just forgot. And down under those mountains in these projections proved that over 90 something percent, I can't remember the exact percent, of history as people have been told it is a lie. Of course, what is history? It's a perception. History is a series of perceptions of what's happened. But crucially, what it was unveiling was so much of what is in mythology and legend is real. Like, it's real stuff. So that's why we probably can all honestly, hand on our heart, say we've heard stories of mythology and legend that have moved us in ways that you can't explain. And they're touching you somewhere within your being on a level that is hitting you with a resonance of, wow, this has got to be real. Even though it seems like fantasy, I can actually feel that it's not just fantasy somehow. Like, we've all had that experience, all of us, regardless of whoever it is, wherever they are in their life, at some point they will have had that experience. And under the mountains there, then effectively within just a few hours, the Bilderberg, the Illuminati, etc., swept in and shut it all down and put all the Romanian press, the media and the government under threat of death to them and all their families, that if they revealed any of this, they'd all be taken out, kind of thing. But there's some fabulous books you can go and read about it. Transylvanian Sunrise is great, by Peter Moon, in league with some of the Department Zero people with writing it. So there's some fabulous stuff, and if you Google it, you can find quite a lot of stuff. But yes, that appears right in the heart of Zalmoxis Pact, because it has a very key connection to an ancient brotherhood and everything that's inside the story itself. That's quite amazing. So.
I must say that we went on a field trip to Transylvania with yourself, the Scalamanci University graduates, and that was so magical. But anyway, we digress. I just want to bring you back to the book. And people who download the book, you can download it from Amazon and all the major book sites worldwide, as an ebook and also in paperback. But you've also got an offer there so that people who buy the book can download a frequency. Now, without naming the frequency for censorship purposes, can you just briefly try and explain in code what this actually does and the benefit of listening to it?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, it features within the book. And yes, anyone that buys the paperback book or downloads it as an ebook will be able to gain access to that frequency. And it'll be very clear to you once you've actually bought the book how you do that. It's very clear in there. What the frequency does is it basically reorients you home to your impregnable state of being. In other words, nothing can affect you on any single level unless you choose that it can affect you. So it's what you are telling yourself that's actually going to make you susceptible to anything.
And how often should people listen to it?
How
often should people listen to the frequency?
If you listen to it once, it's done. So what it's going to do is reorient you, but you can listen to it as many times as you like. So I have people that have been listening to it saying, can I keep listening to it? It's absolutely fine, but you don't need to listen to it more than once. Once you've listened to it once, it's done. What that is that frequency is not a frequency. What it is something way more powerful than simply here's a frequency. It's the easiest way I can describe it is it will literally center you home to your impregnable state. So it completely reorients the way that you are telling yourself and what you are telling yourself from your core to make you impregnable to anything that's going on around you. As what's another way of putting this? I'm trying to put it slightly in code. It's actually reorienting you to a place where effectively you can't be affected by anything around you. You can only be affected by anything around you if you choose for that to be the case. So this is what this frequency is doing, is taking you home to that impregnable state. Let's leave it like that.
Beautiful. Skarlet, thank you. If people want to connect with you, which is the best website to send them to?
Oh, you can go to scarlet.realta.com is my main site, so you can access all the other sites from there. I have an author site, slrealta.com, and we have the university website, scolamanchiuniversity.org. Perhaps we can put the links in there because I know some of the spellings are a little bit interesting. So
yes, it's Skarlet with a K, and Lou is Lu. Skarlet Lou Realta. So yeah, if you want to check out the website and everything, you know, contact myself or Skarlet, you know, and we'll put the links in for you. Skarlet, thank you so much for your time today. I'm very excited for anybody who reads the book, because it is one that sort of gives you new insights. I think with all your books, they sort of raise your consciousness. It sort of sends you down different rabbit holes. So yeah, so thank you so much, and blessings to everybody for listening.
Thank you.